They say, no one is an island. But what they don't say is how peaceful an island can feel after too many storms. In a world that celebrates connection, productivity, constant presence, why do some people feel safest alone? Why does silence feel like relief instead of emptiness? There is a quiet pattern here. Not loneliness, not arrogance, but a retreat that feels protective, a comfort in isolation that few openly admit. Tonight, this is what will be explored. Let's begin. There is a kind of quiet that does not ache. It exhales. After a long day of conversation, expectation, subtle performance. The door closes, and something inside you loosens. Your shoulders drop. Your breathing deepens. The air feels clearer when no one is asking anything from you. This is not loneliness. Loneliness is an empty well. It echoes. It longs. What you feel is different. It is stepping out of the current and onto steady ground. It is silence that restores instead of silence that reminds you of absence. The world can feel loud in invisible ways, not only through noise, but through emotional negotiation. The reading of faces, the adjusting of tone, the small calibrations required to remain understood. And when you are alone, those negotiations stop. No one is measuring you. No one is misreading you. No one is shifting the emotional weather. Solitude becomes breathable space. A room where your nervous system is not bracing for interruption. You are not hiding. You are resting. Isolation, in this form, is not rejection of others. It is protection of energy, a quiet reclaiming of self after being stretched thin, and in that stillness, you feel something rare, safety. Long before solitude became comfort, the world may have felt overwhelming, not necessarily chaotic on the surface, but unpredictable underneath. In some homes, emotions moved like weather without warning. A calm morning could turn into a storm by evening. Voices could sharpen without explanation. Approval could flicker. Silence could stretch too long. You learn to listen carefully, to scan tone, to anticipate shifts, to brace before impact. For a sensitive nervous system, this kind of environment does not simply feel difficult. It feels loud, even in quiet rooms, even when no one is speaking. Over time, your body began associating social spaces with effort, with vigilance, with subtle threat. Not always danger, but instability, and instability is exhausting. So you discovered something else: your room, your headphones, your books, your inner world, places where the emotional volume dropped, where no one's mood could spill into yours, where you did not have to monitor the atmosphere. Isolation did not begin as rebellion, it began as relief, as a nervous system searching for still water after too many waves. When relational spaces felt overstimulating or unpredictable, withdrawal became regulation. Not because you disliked people, but because your body needed quiet to feel safe. And once you discover a place where safety is consistent, it is natural to return there. Not all exhaustion is physical. Some of it is neurological. The human nervous system is constantly scanning the environment for cues of safety or threat. Facial expressions, tone shifts, subtle pauses in conversation. Most of this happens below awareness, like a quiet radar turning in the background. For some people, that radar is finely tuned. Crowded rooms are not just noisy. They are data-heavy. Every laugh, every glance, every change in posture becomes information to process. The brain works harder. The body stays slightly alert. This is not weakness. It is sensitivity, and sensitivity requires recovery. Neuroscience shows that when the nervous system perceives safety, it shifts into a restorative state. Heart rate steadies, muscles relax, breathing deepens. In many cases, solitude provides exactly those cues: no social evaluation, no unpredictable emotional shifts, no need to perform or adapt. The absence of stimulation becomes a signal. You can rest now. So isolation does not feel alarming. It feels regulating. The body experiences it as lowered threat, as a reduction in cognitive load, as stepping out of fluorescent light into soft shade. In that quiet, your system recalibrates, and what others might interpret as avoidance is, at times, simply your biology choosing equilibrium. They often say, "You're distant," or "You don't need anyone." But what they see as detachment may actually be discernment. Preferring solitude does not automatically mean lacking depth. It does not mean you feel nothing. In many cases, it means you feel too much. Isolation can be a way of preserving warmth, not extinguishing it. When your inner world is sensitive, constant exposure can feel like erosion. Too many conversations without pause. Too many emotional exchanges without integration. Over time, even connection can begin to feel like friction. So you step back, not because you reject others, but because you are protecting your own equilibrium. There is a difference between indifference and intentional distance. Indifference is numb. It does not care. Your solitude cares deeply. It understands that presence requires energy. That vulnerability requires space. That empathy, when unregulated, can drain rather than nourish. So you retreat before resentment forms, before overwhelm hardens into coldness. Isolation, in this form, is maintenance. It is how you keep your inner fire steady instead of letting it burn out. The world may misread the quiet, but comfort in solitude is not the absence of love. It is the careful conservation of it. Solitude can feel like sanctuary, but even sanctuaries have walls. At first, the quiet restores you. It steadies your pulse. It clears the mental noise. You return to yourself without interruption, and that relief is real. But over time, something subtler can begin to form, a distance not only from overwhelm, but from shared meaning. Comfortable isolation protects your peace. Yet it can also protect you from being seen, from being misunderstood, yes, but also from being deeply known. There is a kind of loneliness that does not scream. It hums softly in the background. It appears in moments when you wish someone could understand your inner world without you having to explain it. Staying hidden keeps you safe from friction, but it also keeps you safe from resonance. Connection carries risk, misinterpretation, disappointment, emotional weather you cannot fully control, and yet it also carries warmth, shared laughter, mutual recognition, the quiet relief of being witnessed. Long-term isolation can narrow the range of experience. It preserves calm, but it may also shrink possibility. The question is not whether solitude is good or bad, is whether protection has slowly become limitation, and whether the walls that once felt like shelter have also begun to feel like distance. There comes a quiet realization. Solitude and connection were never meant to compete. For a long time, it may have felt like a choice. Either you are alone and regulated, or you are with others and slightly braced. Either you preserve your energy, or you risk losing yourself. But what if safety does not have to depend on distance? What if the calm you feel alone can begin to travel with you? The turning point is not dramatic. It is subtle. It begins when you notice that the steadiness you experience in isolation is not created by silence alone. It is created by internal permission, permission to be unperformed, unmeasured, unguarded, and that permission does not have to disappear when someone else enters the room. Feeling safe together does not mean tolerating overwhelm. It means allowing your nervous system to remain grounded even in connection, not collapsing into performance, not dissolving into other people's moods. Solitude becomes a foundation instead of an escape. You begin to understand that the calm you associate with being alone is actually something you carry, a steadiness that belongs to you, not to the absence of others. And when that realization settles, connection stops feeling like intrusion. It becomes possibility. There is a way to return to the world without abandoning the quiet you found. It does not require becoming louder, or more available, or more socially effortless. It begins with knowing that solitude is not your only sanctuary. You are. Balanced solitude is not disappearance. It is rhythm, a movement between inward and outward, like breath. Inhale alone, exhale together. Neither state superior, neither state permanent. You can step into connection without surrendering your pace. You can speak without performing. You can listen without absorbing every emotional current in the room. Internal steadiness does not mean you never feel drained. It means you recognize the signs early. You honor your limits without guilt. You allow yourself retreat without shame and presence without fear. Returning does not mean becoming different. It means becoming whole. If parts of this reflection felt familiar, if something quiet inside you softened at the idea that your love of solitude is not a flaw, you are not alone in that experience. Many carry this preference silently, misread by a world that equates noise with connection. If you would like to remain in a space where these quiet patterns are explored gently, where sensitivity, withdrawal, and belonging are understood without judgment, you are welcome here. And if you feel comfortable, you can share your experience below, not because you must, but because your words might help someone else feel less strange for needing quiet to feel safe. Take care of yourself. You deserve gentleness.